So I think one of the hard part was, I was in a very comfortable job. Bloomberg pays me really well. The welfare obviously. How do you quit and do something really risky? Because a startup is really risky. You don't have a defined kind of outcome. You don't know whether people will be supporting, and along the journey, you're gonna get rejected all the time. So I think that was the hard call. But with this whole dev experience, that really helped push me in a sense. I don't want to waste any time anymore.
Welcome to Your Great Story. Today we have Regina Tan, co-founder of Immortalize, with us today. Very exciting, right? Which is talk about last mile of life marketplace. So that's really close to my heart, right? Because my wife is a palliative nurse, right? So we're still looking at last mile of life. So I had a few chats with Regina earlier, but I really love Regina to share her story, right, in this channel, in this episode. So Regina, for people who don't know you yet, how will you introduce yourself?
Okay, so I used to be a journalist at Bloomberg. I was based in Beijing, I was based in Hong Kong, I interned in Singapore and things like that. So what happened was, I was in Hong Kong back then, and I was at the peak of my career in the sense, height of my career in the sense, and I suddenly fell sick. And that's kind of, when you're really young, career-minded, career-driven, ambitious, and all this kind of stuff, and suddenly you never thought that you could, suddenly fall sick and the world could crumble. So long story short, I was sick in the sense that I was actually preparing for my death in case, something happens. I was trying to look up, how to do my will and all this kind of stuff. And that was when I realized it was so hard. Being a millennial myself, I'm spoiled with doing everything digital in the sense that I could order an Uber, then, in Hong Kong it's Uber, basically get an Uber, online. I can do my groceries online. I Taobao shop, everything. Literally, I don't need to leave my house. And the fact that, I can't really find any comparison or information very clearly in terms of how I should be doing my will, what I should be doing. So I actually realized, for example, that, just to give you one example, because I was studying in Australia, so I have access in Australia, Beijing, Hong Kong, Singapore, little bit of money, not a lot, but in any case, that I can't just do a Hong Kong will and it covers everything. It doesn't work that way. So, long story short, I basically decided not to do my death planning in that sense. Quit my job, came back to Singapore, was trying to figure out, what I should be doing because I got a second chance in life in the sense that I kind of recovered. But I wanted to find something that I'm really passionate about of doing, so I don't want to waste this second chance in life. So in any case, I started a bit researching more about, how people should be doing. So Immortalize actually started on something called Will on blockchain, because at that point in time, we were very, kind of big on blockchain. There was this whole blockchain hype. I mean, even now there is. But we actually did about 2 years of survey with users, with people, normal people, and also with law firms and everything. And what we realized was that the market doesn't really need product. There's actually a lot of last mile of life planning product. There's a lot of digital will, there's a lot of will provider, estate planning, legacy planning kind of providers. What the market really needed was, information on all this kind of stuff. Like, for example, you ask any random person, do you know who can do a will? How much does a will cost? How much does a lasting power of attorney cost? Or how much, and all this kind of stuff, and people wouldn't have idea. So the idea of Immortalize is to basically take all this information and make this industry transparent and also very easy for people to kind of book the whole process. Not just will, it's the whole last mile of life. For example, on our platform, you can take a look. We have will, lasting power of attorney, if you have dispute, if you have mental capacity issues, or even funerals, insurance, financial products. The idea is we do not want to create any products per se, but we just want to make it very easy for people to do their last mile life planning. So sorry, there's a very long story to introduction.
All good, all good. I think it's good. It sounds like a one-stop solution, or kind of all-in-one place where you have lots of last mile of life solutions in a way, right? And you spoke about you have a second chance of life, right? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So it's a little bit cliche because, how people say, oh, you should really, treasure your time, life is short, all this kind of stuff. I mean, when you're in your 20s or early 30s, it's like, the world is not going to end, it's like you have infinite time. It's only when you actually experience death, near-death situation yourself, or have someone die. Most people would not, that's kind of cliches, but you don't really feel it or understand it. And that was a point in time when I recovered. So when I was sick, I felt that I had a lot of things that I haven't done. I haven't done this. I want to do that, and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, but you were really focused on kind of like getting well. So after I got well, you kind of learn the lessons from that sick experience, and then I decided that, so I think one of the hard part was, I was in a very comfortable job. Bloomberg pays me really well. The welfare obviously. How do you quit and do something really risky? Because a startup is really risky. You don't have a defined kind of outcome. You don't know whether people will be supporting, and along the journey, you're gonna get rejected all the time. So I think that was the hard call. But with this whole dev experience, that really helped push me in a sense. I don't want to waste any time anymore. I really want to kind of like do something that, the worst thing to do is to wake up and hate Mondays. That's my personal opinion. Like, I really want to live every day, looking forward to every day, waking up, oh my God, I'm doing this thing so exciting today, kind of stuff. So that to me was the second time in life where, to do something that I truly am passionate about. Again, very cliche, but after being through what I've been through, to me, I really do feel it this time around when people talk about all these cliches. Yeah.
Nice. So you were in a well-paying job in Bloomberg, right? And then you worked really hard, and then you fell sick, right? Because probably overworking, maybe, right?
I don't know.
Right?
My boss might kill me because Bloomberg has really good
it's normal.
Yeah.
In this world, it's normal to overwork, right? It's normal to overwork and work 10 hours a day and kind of things, or even 12 hours a day, right? And then you fell sick, really sick, and then you have a second chance of life, and that brings you to kind of want to build something really meaningful, which is immortalize, right?
Right.
Nice. So, what does immortalize really mean? I ask this question because I'm really curious how founders name their companies, name their startups. So, immortalize is kind of a little bit of a new word to me. So, what does it really mean?
Okay. So the funny part is that basically immortalize, if the definition wise, it basically means, try to make something remembered forever kind of situation. So in our context, for example, when we were coming out with names, so me and my partners, and we were like just brainstorming different names. And actually initially immortalize was just a placeholder, because we didn't really have a better name. But over time, we kind of grew to like it and all this kind of stuff. But the idea is that, for example, your legacy, for example, your life, it shouldn't be just, your 80 years, 90 years, however long people live these days. But in any case, so the idea is that, so for example, when I fell sick and quit my job, I wanted to make an impact. Okay, it could be to me, to my family, to the greater society as a whole. I'm not the really altruistic kind that says I want to save the world. I mean, it would be great if I can, but it doesn't, I don't start out that way. And I don't think most people would start out that way, trying to save the world. It's always about yourself first, before you think about the bigger picture. But in any case, basically, we want to immortalize your legacy in that sense. We want to make, what is your legacy? What do you want to be remembered by forever? It may not be to everyone in the world because, but at least, you have made impact in this world. You don't leave, you are just a passing by kind of situation. Do you want to make an impact? So that's kind of what the whole legacy planning, last mile of life planning is that when you start, for example, when you're 30, thinking about, the angle, when you have a clear picture of where the angle is, you might, you see that at the end of the day, everybody dies eventually kind of situation. You might actually change your thinking in terms of what's important now. By thinking about death, you start realizing what's important right now. Is the material stuff important? Yes to some, no to some. That could be my legacy. I want to be a fashionista. I'm not, but in any case, I'm saying it doesn't matter what, but at the end of the day, what do we want to be immortalized as? Be remembered forever as kind of situation. So that's kind of what immortalize is. When you think about death, you start learning or treasuring learning about what's important to you.
Wow, that's a very deep topic, important. What's important to a person, I believe everybody has a story or has a legacy that they want to immortalize, they really want to be known for in their life, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's good inspiration. So did you start this alone? Who are your any co-founders, how do you meet them and all that? Yeah.
Right. Okay, we have a inside story and an official story. But in any case, the inside story is that basically what happens was I was doing Arco then. That's when I know you. So basically, these two friends of mine, uni friends of mine, basically they were experiencing kind of like estate planning issues themselves. Why is it so difficult? Why can't I just do it online? Same kind of situation. That's why Immortalize started as a will, online will on a blockchain. So we started off trying. So they came to me more because I was doing branding and stuff. They were trying to figure out whether we could make this work. How do we actually gain the publicity, do this and things like that. So but after talking to them more about what they are doing, I felt personally very passionate about this cause because I had to go through the dev process as well, and I was trying to do my dev planning, and it was insanely crazy. To give people an example, that's why I always did. Now, for example, when we did our pricing, so on Immortalize website, you can actually see the pricing of all the different providers, including the details of what the pricing includes. And when we first started doing this, it was really about mystery calling. You cannot go onto any law firm's website and find a price. Pretty much you can't. There's one or two now these days that put it up, but traditionally they don't. And they're very opaque about pricing. But for user-wise, you go to lawyer, you never know how much you charge. In fact, in our survey, we did our survey with users, for example, most people expect a will to cost several thousand. But if you're an average person, actually the truth is that it's about $300 to $500 Sing dollars. But in any case, so I felt personally very passionate, relatable to this startup idea. So I said, hey, I would like to participate and do. I'm not sure what I can contribute, maybe branding, maybe marketing, I'm not too sure. But in any case, it started from that, but it evolved so after I told you we did 2 years of surveys, talking to lawyers, talking to users and everything, and we kind of finally realized that, okay, will on blockchain is not the solution to that people are actually facing. Is actually the whole information. What information do you have? How do you reach out? How do you search, compare, and things like that? So that's why the marketplace. So one of the original founder per se became an investor. The other one became an advisor, and I actually onboarded another friend of mine, Heidi, okay, who is now the CEO of Immortalize. She actually we created the products together and launched it together. She joined later on in the process, but I will also consider her a founder in a sense because we launched the product together, which was launched about 7 months ago or so, 7 or 8 months ago. So soft launch, yeah. So
Nice.
so that's the story of how it came about. That was a question, right?
Yeah. It's a extended question and answer as well. So how do you meet her?
So Heidi was my childhood friend. So we knew our dads know each other since young. So our dads are both entrepreneurs. We were in the flower business and anything. In any case, so Heidi and I were childhood friends. So we knew each other from young. So when I was in Hong Kong, we catch up really often, every week, every fortnight or something along that line. And COVID struck. So, the family decided to close the family business. So she was helping out in the family business. And I really liked what she was doing because she was, I'm not sure if you know the flower industry is very, very traditional. It's very traditional. You have some new startup, but other than that, the whole supply chain is very traditional. So she was actually innovating in a really traditional industry. And that was what really, what I really appreciate about her, because for example, the last mile of life industry, your funeral industry, your legal industry, you have all this stuff. They say they are super tech digitization, but in the estate planning area, like for example, legal industry and the estate planning, they are not digital at all. Like some of the lawyers before COVID, they haven't even used a video conferencing before. That's how backward in tech. So our challenge is really to make this really, in the funeral industry, some of the funeral directors, for example, they still use SMS. When is the last time you put out an SMS kind of situation, right? But in any case, what I'm saying here is that we are actually trying to make a very, very backward industry digitize. So that was the hard part for her. And I knew I needed someone who is used to working in a traditional industry. Because if you find someone who is in the tech industry, for example, they'll get frustrated really easily. When you're trying to change things in a really traditional industry, the kind of fatigue that you get, because you're going to keep saying no, people don't understand. Things like digital to us is so obvious, but to the traditional industry, it's not. This is not how the things are done, and we would like to keep it this way. So you get a lot of that at the beginning. Now it's a lot better. especially with COVID for us. So COVID was good for us in the sense for business, in that sense. Of course, not good for people in general, but in any case, yeah. So that was why. We grouped together in a sense. That's a particular kind of perseverance and skill set that I thought Heidi had. That was similar to me in some sense, and that's kind of how we got together.